on YouTube, which is pretty cool. Not expecting too many people to join us live because it's our first time doing it. But the idea is to build up a habit every week and try to turn this into a show and have members of the Collaboratory come dropping in and let's pull up the chat. There you go. Yeah, so we've got this space now in the brotherhood, in the community where authors can spend more time working on marketing and building up their author brands together. So there's this main community for writing, and then we've got a Collaboratory, which is like a lab for collaborating together.
No, yeah, I
So
like the name.
yeah, I thought it came out pretty cool. So I've got me a nifty little what do you call it? Program that we can run through. And I'm just going to give it a couple of minutes to let this thing finish cooking. And I just thought we'd, you know, welcome to the show and thank you for helping me to kick it off. And got a bunch of rapid fire questions to annoy you with, and we can talk about uh, latest books and stuff like that. So yeah, how's your week been? What have you been up to this past week?
Been working on the short story for Grim Winter.
How's it going?
It's going good. I think the first draft's about half done.
Okay,
Um,
nice.
I'm starting to get into that phase where I start to second guess everything, though,
Hmm.
and I kind of need to. I got some advice from Caitlin Cummins to just kind of push past that and just let the first draft be as sloppy as it's going to be,
Hmm.
and then go back and fix it later.
Nice, nice. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Where do you find you run aground when it comes to crafting a story?
Kind of making sure all the themes sort of hang together and make
Mhm,
sense. And I tend to have problems with the climax.
mhm,
Making a satisfying climax where there's a lot of payoff for things that have been set up earlier in the story.
mhm.
I tend to worry very much about, like, does the climax work? Is it really payoff for what has gone before?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I hear that. Um, what's your answer? Like, have you found a series of mental sort of things that you line up to make it work? And what's a story where you were really satisfied with how you wrapped it up?
Probably the novella I wrote last year,
Hmm.
Field Station Delta. I was
Hmm.
very, very pleased with how the climax of that turned out and how it fine. I basically left it until the climax to sort of reveal what the main character can really do.
Yeah.
I had alluded to it several times throughout the story, and to finally get her to be able to show off what
Hmm.
she can do when she just kind of lets go of her need to control everything,
Right, right,
you
right.
know. That
Yeah,
I
that's
found
that's
that was
fun.
very emotionally satisfying. And it was fun to write too.
Yeah. Well, that's great. This reminds me. There was a book I read years and years ago called Age of Wonder. And I remember it being really cool. It might have been the audiobook, I don't remember. And, I remember getting to the end, the final chapter, he introduces it wasn't a twist, it was something I never saw coming, and there was no setup for it. And it went from being an epic discovery, kind of epic fantasy story, to suddenly becoming a Marvel Cinematic Universe thing and he becomes kind of a superhero character. And I hope I didn't ruin it for
Ah.
everybody. And then he never wrote a sequel. I was like, "Oh,
Oh,
you
oh
can't."
no.
It's been, I don't know, almost 10 years now. We have Gianna with us. Let's see if we can welcome Gianna in, see if she can join us. Hey, Gianna, it's nice to see you. Welcome.
Hello,
Can you hear us okay?
good to be here. My apologies.
No, no worries. Can you hear us okay? There might be a
Oh,
little bit of a
yes, I can
delay.
hear you. Hmm.
Awesome. Okay, sounds like we've all caught up. So that's great. Yeah, we were just getting started with Thomas, who spent the first couple of minutes to sort of uh, kicking things around. How have you been? How's your
Hmm.
past week been, Gianna?
How has my past week been? Pretty
Apart from
hard.
world ending, soul crushing, and all of that, with
Yeah,
trying to find a new job, and it's been rough.
yeah, it's been rough, but I'm doing my best. So, but
Hmm.
keeping myself busy really helps. So, but I
Excellent.
appreciate
Well,
your
good.
asking that. So I'm glad to be here and excited to be on the air right now, if I
Yeah.
understand this correctly. So I'm going to
Yeah,
do
that's
my
right.
best to um, make sure I don't make any funny faces.
It'll all be fine. So I think we've got Thomas for maybe a half hour or so, and then you have to
Hmm.
bounce. And so thanks
Yeah.
for helping us kind of warm up this live stream. The goal is to come back once a week and just hang out. We've got a couple of key sections that we're going to go through. We're in the middle of one, which is the opening, and then we'll talk about community news and updates, new stuff happening in the con. And Thomas, you just alluded to the fact we've got an open call going on right now, which is pretty fun. Then we have our guest or author of the week. I'm going to put Thomas in the hot seat for a minute. And then finally, we'll all just kind of go around and talk about what are we writing or working on right now. And so that might go for a half hour or so, and maybe an hour if we end up having lots of fun. And if people drop stuff in the chat, then we'll answer that too. I have an entire text document of questions that people sent in after our Legend Haven convention that
Mm.
we need to talk about at some point. So I might actually do that towards the end. I'm just going to write that in. AMA question response or something. So let's, okay, that's the opening. Let's get into a little bit of the news from this past week. It's very cool that you're with us, Gianna, because she is
Mhm,
somebody that for now I am partnering with, or she is helping out with the Collaboratory. So as I was
mhm,
just mentioning that to you, Thomas, we've started a new section, and this is actually the first time that we're talking about it out loud to no viewers on YouTube, which is fine. Sharing in the news with the world the fact that we've got a new space in the community for people who want to learn to, share marketing resources or share how they're going about marketing their books and want to level that part up of the craft of marketing. So we've stacked together a bunch of resources, and Gianna stepped up to help out with things like author blog interviews,
mhm,
and we've got a blog program where we want to invite authors to keep coming back and helping us to create content and market themselves, and then put a big old ad at the bottom of each article to buy my book or do whatever you
mhm,
want, support my Kickstarter. And we're trying to open up and share the Legend Fiction mailing list as it keeps growing and provide them with stuff that they're interested in and help authors to continue growing. And so those will get published to the blog. And then once a week, Gianna can work on a roundup of here's all the latest cool stuff that we've published. Come and check it out. Plus, there's a ton of other cool resources. So we've also, as of this past week and a half, we have a brand new website that puts all of our new programs in a. It's so much easier to find everything. At least I think so. You'll have to tell me what you think. But the
mhm,
Collaboratory is there. The writing school is there. After this, I need to go back and finish working on the magazine and trying to get that first issue together so we can all see what that could look like. But yeah, apart from that, thanks to Thomas, we have a new anthology in the community called Grim Winter, and it's from the imagination or inspired by Thomas Salerno, talking about stories set in a sort of epic fantasy stories. It's a little bit of dark fantasy, a little bit of maybe of horror. It's kind of grim with like a little thread of hope kind of running through it so it doesn't become depressing. But it's a tough world and it's covered in snow, something like that. And so we opened that anthology up to our community and invited them all to come write stuff. Thomas, where's your story going so far? You're the founding inspirant. Is that a word? So your story is going to go first to sort of help set the tone. So, what was your inspiration for the story?
Well, actually, so my story is called What the Winter Took. And it actually began as a little bit almost like a prologue or a sort of standalone prequel to a novel I've been developing over the past um, few months. The novel is called The Winter's Maw, and
Mm,
it is kind of a dark fantasy story, but also with about some pretty heavy themes, but also with a, as you say, a thread of hope running through it. And I had this idea for what was one of the supporting characters doing before the story actually begins, and I realized that I could kind of have him on like appear in this sort of standalone adventure, also set in winter.
Mhm.
And I thought like that would just be a neat thing for me to do to sort of get my because I write fiction only occasionally, and I sort of felt like I'd been away from it for a bit and I needed to jump back into it. I've been revising fiction for a while because I wrote a novella last year, but I hadn't drafted anything new really in a
Mhm.
long while. So I decided to get back into it, and I'm really glad you liked my pitch, Dominic, because as a friend of mine told me last night, she's like, I won't be able to read your story because I spoiled for her the ending, and she's like,
Okay.
but yeah, I will say it is kind of a sad ending, but there's again there's just this sort of thread of hope running through the
Mhm.
story, and how we deal with things like grief and loss. And I felt winter was an appropriate season to kind of set that in.
Yeah. No, it sounds fun. And we've got, actually can't remember how many pitches that I've been working or responding back to authors with in the community.
There's been
So
quite a few.
there's been a bunch of them in there. Yeah, they're chatting and stuff. Yeah, they're presenting their ideas between 1 to 3, and then we're all, those who are involved in that anthology are able to see the pitches each other are sharing, and I'm helping with some developmental feedback for each one, and it's been pretty fun. So
Yeah, I
I
have
need
to
to
say,
figure.
Dominic, your developmental feedback on mine was extremely helpful. At
Oh,
at
I'm
first,
glad.
I was kind of angry. I was like, grumble, 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 and then like I realized, no, wait, what Dominic says actually makes a whole lot of sense, and it inspired some ideas for how to develop the main character further and sort of set up actions that are going to happen later in the plot. And it actually opened up for me like aspects of the main character that I hadn't considered before I got your feedback. So that was actually really
Oh,
helpful.
well, I'm really glad. I'm grateful that you say that because I need to learn how to get better at um, giving feedback and not running roughshod maybe or overwhelming an author. Um, so I need to get better at that too. But I'm glad that it landed. Before getting into you as our guest author of the week and just continuing, I do want to feature or highlight Gianna for a second. You are in between jobs and you are looking for work opportunities. You do have experience in marketing, and that's why hopefully we'll have some fun building up this collaboratory.
Mhm.
But what kind of position are you looking for if you could land one, perhaps part time or something? What kind of work are you looking for?
Well, if I had to look for something part-time, my previous full-time job was in con marketing content writing, and I love writing. I would really love to see a future for content writing that is more stable and less volatile. But
Mhm.
I'm at peace for now with like seeing it as it's a great way to take on something part-time, maybe in content writing, do something writing wise or creating content. But if I
Mhm.
had to definitely, if I had to do something full-time, I'd love to do something in definitely in content marketing. If I'm still able to do writing in it, that's perfect.
Mhm.
And essentially, as long as I can be a storyteller in whatever I do and use my creativity, that's what I would love to do full time. And it's really, and I really do appreciate the feature, and the brief spotlight actually. So it's appreciate your questions. I've been asking myself. I constantly ask myself, how do I want to spend my one finite life? So yeah.
No, it's my pleasure to feature you, and we'll
Mm-hmm.
I'll go and put your website. Actually, I should do that on the
Oh, thank
collaboratory
you.
page so people can check you out if they want to learn more
It's
about you.
it's currently in the progress of being updated. So
Hmm.
I am in the progress of doing that, and more than welcome. Appreciate the amplifying me and spotlighting me, and I'm also really looking forward to spotlighting all these other authors, including Thomas as well. Who Thomas, I don't know if you knew this, but I know you write for Word and Fire sometimes, and I was previously on their development staff from
Oh, yeah.
2020 to 2023. So
Okay. I
mhm.
your name sounded familiar to me. So I think that's where I've encountered it before. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I started out with a different name though, but then I got married, so now I have a different last name, which probably may explain why. But yeah.
That's fun. What a small world, isn't it? It's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Need to see if we can get maybe more of what Luminor is up to,
Yeah.
and keep talking about that, because that's a pretty cool thing. All right,
Yeah.
so Thomas, you are this project that you've now name dropped on this episode. I don't know if you've done it anywhere else. You called it Winter's Maw.
Hmm.
Tell us a little bit about it if you want to. Where is it at? How long you've been working on it? Is it your new project?
It's one of my new projects because I always have more projects than I know what to do with, and I often jump between one and the other.
Hmm.
But yeah, this one I've been working on. I'd say for a couple of months now, maybe since the beginning of September.
Nice.
Um, it's it's been interesting because it's not. I have a full outline.
Hmm.
I haven't started, full on drafting yet, but it's a very interesting story because the outline did not turn out as I originally envisioned it was going to. In
Hmm.
fact, the main character, the protagonist, went through some significant changes between when I initially envisioned him and how he turned out as, where now the protagonist is actually a druid healer, which is a
Oh.
very different
Hmm.
kind of character from how I originally envisioned him. In the beginning, he was just kind of a generic sort of warrior type character. But when one of the side characters also ended up being, a kind of martial, warrior character, I'm like, well, I want something to balance that. And very naturally, due to some of the elements of the plot, the protagonist was able to I was able to transition the protagonist very easily into this very different kind of character. But I think since the character had uh, a kind of foundation of a personality where there was a lot of empathy and compassion, it made sense to make that character explicitly a healer.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, it's been interesting. I've written novella length work before. I'm hoping.
Which is about roughly how many words? 30,000, 40,000?
Yeah, I've seen I've seen references that say for science fiction and fantasy about 17,000 is the minimum, but mine is about, well, the novella I wrote is about 27,000 words.
Okay.
Um yeah, and that's unpublished right now.
Hmm.
I'm still working on revising it. And I would like to write a novel length work next year.
Nice.
When but it's again, I go through days where it's like, no, it's going to be this one, no, it's going to be this project, no, this project, and I have a project too. Speaking of Luminor, I have a
Yeah.
project I think they might be interested in, but it's very, very early
Mm,
development
that's
stage,
cool.
very
So,
super
That's
early.
really
So it
cool.
depends how I develop things,
mhm,
whether I'll pitch it to
nice,
them or not.
nice. And you'll have to forgive me. I'm going to keep testing this live stream tools here to see if I can figure out the best way to do it. Hopefully, it shows up well on YouTube. But how do you juggle multiple projects like that? Like you say, some days you don't know which one to write. Um, how do you do it? Do you just like create a schedule for yourself and then just punch your way through it, or you just go where the energy flows? Or
I kind of
uh,
just go where the energy flows
mhm,
because, and I also have a part time job which takes up some of my hours during the week. And sometimes, I may have to fill in like very for somebody like very short notice. So I like to not rigidly schedule myself
mhm,
and try to just go where the energy is at that moment.
mhm,
And sometimes it surprises me. Sometimes I can spend a whole day just working on one project, or
yeah,
sometimes I need to take a break, or I've become very uh, I've learned to not worry about putting projects aside for a while.
mhm,
I like to think of myself as a gardener when I write, where I can't force too much things to happen, or, if you give the plant too much attention, it could die, essentially.
right, right,
So I try to just let things happen as they happen and to not try to control every detail of it, to not be too much of a micromanager of my own projects.
yeah. That makes sense. I think it's a good attitude to take because we're not always in control of the writing energy, and sometimes it just completely abandons us. Gianna, what do you think about that? What do you have a writing style? I know that you're getting. I don't know that you have like a novel that you're working on, but maybe some stories. I don't remember. Do you have a
Of course.
workflow or process that works?
Yeah. So to answer, your question, Dominic, one, what, Thomas, you're explaining, is very relatable. It makes a lot of sense. As a writer, and as an aspiring novelist myself, I do have definitely two series that I can think of that I do want to get out there. One that I you know was inspired into my imagination in a dream I had as a 13-year-old. Worked on it several years, had to set it aside a few years ago just because I was just really stuck, but picked up a really great idea for the current novel series that I'm really invested into publishing and wanting to publishing first, but it's in quote unquote outlining hell, I think, if I were to call it. Because for my personal writing style, I like to, especially when it comes to a multi-book series, it really matters to me that I don't have plot continuity issues that you'll sometimes see appear on an IMDb goof page or something, or
Yeah.
people will come up with that. So it matters to me to outline something first before I actually start manuscripting it.
hmm
But I always end up finding myself writing it out, some of the manuscript out. And so that's a current challenge that I have as a writer. But when it comes to making every time for everything to fit, um, including, when if you have like other commitments in your life, whether it's, part-time job, a full-time job, or, family members that you need to interact with, other commitments essentially, this is where I feel like even as a marketer, like having like work blocks like will really help me. And sometimes you do need to just take a pause and
hmm
help and revisit it another day.
hmm
And one thing that I notice quite often as a writer is that sometimes at like 6 p.m. or something, I feel like the writer just goes to sleep in me, where I can't like grammar. I can't like it makes no sense.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
mhm.
Yep. Words stop wording.
Yeah,
Well, Thomas, I
exactly.
think you've got about 6 minutes till you have to step away. So I'm going to pull out the rapid fire question list.
Mm.
So um, let's see. You got, I don't know, you can answer in maybe about a word or 2 words, and that's
All right.
countable. So like I say, I'm gonna be annoying. All right.
Sounds fun.
Recent movie you just watched.
Recent movie I just watched, Muppet Christmas Carol.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Thumbs up or thumbs down? Did you like it? I'm
Oh,
assuming you loved it.
anything Muppets is two
Ah,
thumbs up.
All right. Recent book that you have read.
Recent book that I read. A spiritual reading that I was just doing. Into Your Hands, Father, Abandoning Ourselves to the God Who Loves Us, which is by Carmelite Wilfred Stinnison. It's been
Okay.
very helpful to me in
That's
my
awesome.
spiritual journey.
Nice. Okay. Number one writing habit to get in the zone.
Need my coffee.
Yeah.
Need my coffee there. Even if I don't drink it, I just need it there.
Right. Favorite place to write? I'm gonna guess is it your room there?
Yeah. Yeah, in my room. Yep.
Nice, nice. Okay. Cats or dogs?
Cats.
I'm
I
a
want to
dog
ask why,
person.
but I think I'm more of a
I like
dog person.
cats too, but I'm a dog person.
Oh, that's funny. What gives you inspiration for writing?
Those art of the movie books, if you know what I'm
Ooh.
talking about,
Yeah,
where they have
concept
all the
art. I love
concept
that.
art.
Mm,
That's what gives me
okay.
inspiration.
One thing you regret spending money on?
Ooh. That I regret spending money on. Probably all of like the deluxe editions of the history of Middle Earth. Like I could have
Really?
gotten them much cheaper, but I'm like, no, I can't.
Okay. Beach or ski trip?
Beach. Beach.
All right. A book you wish more people knew about?
Hmm. A Canticle for Leibowitz.
Okay.
I find that it's one of the greatest Catholic science fiction books of all time, and I mostly I get blank stares mostly when I mention it.
I'm
Nice. You're
looking
the
this
second
up.
person this
Literally
week who's
looking
mentioned
this
that.
up.
Have you read that, Gianna?
No, actually.
It's a masterpiece, and it's like the
Okay, thank you.
foundational Catholic sci-fi book. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What is something most people like but you don't understand?
Doctor Who.
Okay. An author
Most
you wish
nerds like Doctor Who, and I don't get it.
an author that you wish more people knew about.
Clifford D. Simak, science
Okay,
fiction
say more.
author. I've just gotten into his books. He wrote a lot, and I think the 60s, 70s, and 80s. I'm
Okay.
just finishing up his book. I think we talked about it before,
I was
Dominic.
going to say,
The Way
isn't that
Station.
the Way Station? Okay,
The Way
you did
Station.
mention that.
Yeah, beautiful prose writer.
Okay.
But you can get almost all his books on Kindle, physical edition. I don't know why a lot of them are out of print physically, but you can get them all on Kindle. And I've been stocking up. He's just his prose is just beautiful, and he's got a lot of very interesting philosophical, things that not very orthodox from a Christian perspective, but fascinating to have that conversation with. Yeah.
That is cool. A book that you've read more than once.
Well, I don't want to give the boring answer, which is Lord of the Rings, because I read it at least once a year. Book that I've read more than once. Seashell on the Mountaintop, which
I've not heard of that.
It's out of print now. But it's about Nicholas Steno, who was a Catholic priest and the founder of geology, and that book was a huge inspiration for my children's book by Word on Fire, The Riddle of the Tungstones.
Nice. There we go. Third Word on Fire reference in this
Yep.
episode. Quote that you love.
Quote that I love. It's just a new one that I've fallen in love with, that a priest friend shared with me, and it's from Proverbs. The human heart plans the way, but the Lord directs the steps.
Nice. Nice. Your favorite surprise ending in a book?
Favorite surprise ending in a book? Oh my gosh. I don't know. I'd have to think on that one more, Dominic. Nothing's coming to me like right
All right.
away.
And that's fine. If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life, what would you choose?
It'd be very bad for me, but mac and cheese.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, stupidest question you've ever been asked as an author, and you can't ask me if that was the previous one.
Oh no. Stupidest question I've ever been asked as an author. Why haven't you finished your next book yet?
Oh yeah. Don't you understand how others work?
Oh no, I just thought of another one. It's like why like literally right after the book was accepted by Word on Fire, it's like, so can I buy it on Amazon or in the bookstore or yada yada? I'm like, no, it's gonna take a couple of years for it. And they're like, I thought you said you wrote a book. I'm like, I did write a book. It's not published yet. That there seems to be a disconnect with some people. Like, you say you wrote a book and their immediate response is, where can I buy it? And they don't seem to get that in traditional publishing, there's that long tail between you signing the contract and when it's actually out there. So
yeah.
Was this
Oh,
someone
that's
on
good.
staff or somebody, one of the constituents?
What do you mean?
Was this somebody in staff who asked you this, or one of the Word and Fire constituents, like, audience
Oh, no.
members?
This was a friend of my brother's who asked this.
Oh, okay.
Well, I thought you said you wrote a book. Why isn't the book out yet?
Your golden rule for saving money. And you can say pass at any point.
What? I wouldn't know. I'm terrible at saving money.
Yeah, just work harder. Favorite cheesy love song?
Oh, I don't have the best musical taste, so I don't know.
Okay. Something you have never been able to do well.
Oh, something I've never been able to do well.
Really?
Run.
And then if you had a time machine, what time period would you travel to?
Oh, that's easy. Late Cretaceous. Although I'd probably
Really?
die, be picked off very, very quickly. But I'm a dinosaur nut. I would need to visit the Mesozoic. Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the latest Jurassic Park?
No, and
Ah.
I'm mad at myself for not seeing because I try to see them all in theaters, even when they're bad.
Mhm.
But the stars didn't align to get my butt in a theater seat at the time when it was out.
Okay.
Um, the first one is my favorite movie of all time, and
Mhm.
is a genuinely scary horror movie. The rest are kind of stupid, and they're either stupid make me angry or stupid
Mhm.
fun,
Yeah.
depending on you know what the writers decided to do. But I do plan on seeing the new one eventually.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, I do think the new one captures some of the original sort of inspiration. It felt more like one of the original ones, just
Mm.
dialed up and fun. All right, well, I think you've got to bounce. It's now top of the hour, so thanks for
Yeah.
joining us. Um, yeah, hopefully we can have you back sometime.
Yeah. And anytime you want to have me back, just shoot me a message. I'm happy to do these whenever I'm available. Thanks, Dominic. And thank you,
Fantastic.
Gianna, for joining us.
Yeah, of course. I saw one of your books in a basilica in Wisconsin, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. So you're
Oh,
doing great.
really? Oh,
Yeah,
that's so great.
There you go. You made it.
the riddle your latest book, Word and Fire, is
Riddle
in
of
the
the
Basilica of
Tungstone.
Saint Joseph's bookstore. So
Oh,
you're
that's
doing great.
amazing.
Yeah,
I love that. Thank you guys so much.
you're welcome.
Bye.
See you, Thomas.
Bye.
All righty, friends. So Thomas and Gianna have now bounced a couple of little closing updates as we wrap up this live stream a little bit. I think we've been going for about a half hour. I'm curious to see if we can get it to go any further. So, at this point is usually where I ask people, where are you with your writing? And so here we go. It's just me. Let's see if I can answer this question. Where am I with my writing? Project updates. I have, as of months ago, finished my first novel, for young adult novel written as a grown up. I'd done more as a teen. So that's done. I'm now going through the editing process, and it's just, I'm procrastinating, is what it is. I'm putting it off. Now, I think I've got a pretty good excuse, although you're not supposed to have those. They say who they are, I don't know. But I've been working on the Legend Haven Con, which was really fun. And we had an amazing weekend about well, less than a month ago now. It's already been a month. I've been working on the Legend Fiction community, trying to get it all refreshed and now rebuild all of the websites. So all of that's up and republish all of the books. So all of that's up, and that's pretty cool too. So there's been a lot of cleanup and sort of prep work and making these brands work and starting a live stream and inviting friends to come and join. So it's been busy last couple of months. And as of this month right now, we're in the middle of our own version of NaNoWriMo. We're calling it the Legend Fiction Writing Month. I still need to be sold on if we call it LeFiRiMo, but that might just stick. We might do two of those a year around the same time that we do an online convention. We also host a writing challenge. It's like 30 days to 30K. We've got about maybe 10 people now in our community who are just hunkering down every day, checking in. Some are writing 200 words, some are getting like 1,200 a day. It's actually pretty cool. And people are getting stuff done. So it's very exciting. Okay, for me, apart from that, it's um, I don't know, it's an epic, moody, kind of dark retelling of the Peter Pan story set in a my own version of Neverland that is breaking into modern London and has created kind of a post-apocalyptic middle realm that my main character falls into and doesn't know how to get out of. It's sort of inspired by Maze Runner, I think. um, I don't know why I like that movie, but it's fun. So that's that one. The other one that I have been wanting to finish for the last year, almost 2 years now. It's a children's novel about mice, mice at Christmas, discovering kind of um, the magic and inspiration of Christmas and what it means. And they go on a big long adventure across the world trying to rescue some lost, um, probably some lost mice. And it's kind of a cozy fiction story. Um, and it all kicks off when a snowman comes to life and comes banging on this mouse's door in the middle of the night and just tells her she's got to come go on this adventure. And so she grabs her friend and they head off following the snowman, and she's joined by two friends she did not expect to make. One is a lizard from an underworld she never knew existed, and a bat like a baby bat that fell out of the sky, another world she didn't know existed. And so all of them are going together on this adventure. I would like to get that finished. It's for children, just kind of putting it off. I'm planning all kinds of other novels. Like this past week, shout out to somebody in our community who referenced the Scarlet Pimpernel. I've been chewing on this really fun idea of mashing up classical figures like Edmond Dantes and the Scarlet Pimpernel and the Phantom of the Opera, putting them together in kind of a epic, maybe pre-steampunk adventure, and where the bad guy is the hunched back of Notre Dame, probably someone like Wilson Fisk who's trying to like change the world. So probably some kind of adventure heist novel. So that's stuff that I've been working on. Am I actually physically writing it? Not really. Probably the next thing that I will write is a short story for our next anthology called Banner Mark, which is for the next Legend Haven convention. So what we're trying to do every convention is put out an anthology of stories, and Banner Mark is going to be one of them. So I've got an idea for like a story that I think we'll put into that. All right. Um, Lastly, I'm going to pull up my list of questions from folk who are at the Legend Fiction Con, and I've got a great big one here that seems kind of interesting. So let me see if I can ask this, and then you are absolutely welcome to come and help me out in the comments, and let's answer a bunch of these together. So here is a question. She says, or a member of the community says, I've got a career question. I don't know if you're a full time author or not, but in your authoring journey, how did you get where you are? As in, what kind of job path and other things did you follow or did you do to get to where you are right now? I really want to be a full time author, and I would love some advice on what kind of path or major or any type of advice really that would get me going down the author road. Um, and the reason why she wants to be a self published author is that it has the most payback or profit that one might need for a job. And being self published means you can keep all of your rights from traditional publishing. All right. So let me just think about that for a second. There's a lot in there. I don't know that I'm the best person to answer that question because uh, I am self published. I wouldn't say that I'm a bestseller. Certainly not anything like that. There are some people who are full time authors. I just chatted with Keith Hayden on the channel. He is somebody who writes almost full time. There's a couple of full time authors in our legend fiction community, so they may have some pretty good advice. But in terms of setting it up as a career, what kind of job path and things do you follow? So I think there's two different ways to go about this. Looking at conventional way that we look at things in the culture. One is you just decide you want to do it and you go and you start doing it. The other route is you go and you get a degree in it. Um, And the benefit of going and getting a degree or taking an online course is to uh, short circuit all of the learning mistakes in the experience. And so you just go and you learn the mechanics of how to write and how it works and how the market works. And you just get all of that studying done. And you basically pay somebody, right? Pay a university or pay to get a degree in it to not go and make all of the mistakes and have to figure it out yourself. Now, that's how things have been for most people because you didn't have things like the internet and YouTube and podcasts and communities and self paced courses. None of that existed before. And so most people will go to college. Unfortunately, colleges have become so incredibly priced out of what most people can afford. So, my recommendation which I think is actually can be more helpful anyway, if you don't have a lot of income anyway, is just start writing on your own. You literally need to write constantly, every single day. Build a habit of writing daily. And it could just be I'm going to write 100 words a day, or I'm going to set a timer and sit for 10 minutes in front of a blank Word document until I can get one word out. Okay, fine, I'm done. What you're doing is, if it's something that really matters to you, here's how you know that it really matters to you. You show up and you write, and you do that. You don't keep wanting to do that. So if you want to write, you have to actually do writing. Now, you don't have to share it with anybody. I think a couple of ways to sort of ease into it, if it's works for your personality type. I think that dream journaling is probably a pretty vital thing. I think that's going to be a standard recommendation I make for everybody. Dream journaling, I think, is really important to do. It does a couple of things. you're signaling or you're telegraphing to yourself that you're paying attention to your imagination, you're paying attention to your intuition, because in the dream state that we go into, almost I think every night, just a bunch of nights you don't remember. When you keep signaling to your psyche and to yourself that you are paying attention to that, your memory can get stronger, your imagination can get clearer, and your psyche can build more confidence to know that it can communicate things to you because you are listening. Um, you may remember your stories better. Also, you may just get interesting or new ideas from the stories that or from the dream events that you get into. So that's one. Dream journaling is good. Journaling, just building a habit of writing down what you think routinely. I think that that is a good idea. Now, I've not done it recently. I used to do it. Looking back, I realized it was really helpful during that time. I was just talking with, like I mentioned, Keith Hayden on the channel, and he's done that did that for years. And it can be, and it is a fantastic way to organize your own thoughts and to find out what you think. I think in a similar way, sometimes I'll blog or I'll, on my own YouTube channel, chat through stuff that I'm thinking. It's kind of a way to journal. I'm just not doing it, as intentionally. So um, I'm sure if you Google that, people will have lots of really good recommendations, even prompts on how to journal. The most important thing is you are organizing your own thoughts and you are learning to do it through writing. Now, in my case, for the last 10 years or so, I really wasn't doing a lot of fiction writing. I would do it in occasional spurts, but I wasn't doing too much of it. So, what I did do was focus on every form of writing that I would do, trying to get better at it. So, I ended up doing a lot of copywriting. So, I wrote a lot of blog articles and social posts and emails. And so, uh, I was trying to master the craft of how can I write better, better, better? Because if I can learn to do that, it can become more effortless. Um, and then I'll enjoy it more because it's now a muscle that I've built up. It's a habit that I've built up. I can jump on that bike and I can ride it anytime without having to think. I can build up confidence in myself. So I now have, or at least try to have, a tighter, slightly more poetic writing style. And every email that I write or every blog post that I write often tries to be very tight and very succinct. Sometimes my wife will come and go, "Hey, that's so brief. It almost seems mad. You should probably add a little bit of fluff to make it a little more human." So I've learned to use emoji and to actually kind of warm it up a little bit. Um, okay, so that's just building up the habit of writing. So if you want to become a full time author, you have just got to become comfortable with writing um, across all kinds of different things. Now, if you do want to be an author, you have to look at if you want to be a full-time author, you need books to sell. Today, you either have to go and land a bestseller deal, or which is very hard to do. If you, like Thomas just mentioned earlier in this conversation, when you finish publishing a book and you go to get it traditionally published, it can be years before it actually gets to market. You can get an advance from some of them. I don't have experience getting into the traditional publishing world. I'm just too impatient for it. I just self-publish, so therefore I have to go and learn a bunch of other skills like my own marketing or how to collaborate or how to make friends or how to get on podcasts or to get interviews or to how to build up all of my own marketing resources. I think I kind of like more of that adventure. I feel not only that I have a little more control, I also learn a lot more. I build all of my own friendships, build my own mailing list, which frankly is what a traditional publisher today, I keep being told, it is what they want to see and what they're looking for. Um, so that's good to be doing anyway. If you want to be a full time author, you need to write and you need to probably keep writing a lot. You can't just put out one book. You probably need to put out a bunch of books. I actually really like a recommendation, which is what is it? 50, 50 books to 100K, I think is a methodology. And I've interviewed Tom, I think his name's Tom Epperson. He's on my channel, where he talks about this whole process about when you're trying to become a full-time author. He's somebody who's actually when I last checked in with him, he and two of his sons, they got together and decided, we're going to do that. We're going to figure out how to be full-time authors. The goal for them was you can sort of break down the numbers. If you need 100K a year to live, then how many books do you need? And I think that they discovered is you need something like 50 books. So the challenge is to find out what you need to do to get 50 books as fast as possible online. And that may not be the right number. You can Google it. The point is, for most of us, we're just so focused on just writing the one book and just getting that done and making it perfect, and then we linger over that, and then very slowly perhaps start the next book. That's great, but if you're trying to put the pressure on yourself of I want to be a full time author, you have to get through that first book as fast as possible. So, how do you do that? Well, you have to build up writing confidence. How do you do that? You literally have to write and get to a point where you're writing as regularly as you can, and you're putting out stuff that you feel good about. Right? When you write stuff, I remember doing this when I first moved to the United States. I'd written a story and I printed it out, and I remember going over it with a red pen. And the challenge in my mind was, how do I say what I want to say in as few words as possible? I need to get rid of every single wasted word. And it was a pretty brutal exercise, but it taught me more about saying what I want to say. And then the next stage after that was, when I go to write, one, either never repeat myself or a description that I used in another story. So I'm always kind of forcing myself to think of a new way to say something without being weird. Um, or two, never rely on cliched statements. Try to actually say what you want to say. Otherwise, you're just stringing together tons of phrases that you've read in books and that other people have used all over the place. And that's not really helping you discover or bring out your own voice. So that's stuff that you just need to practice. How do you do that? I just recommend journaling is excellent. Writing short stories, learning how to master a short story. I think that if you can figure out, and I used to tell myself, "Oh, I can't do short stories; they're so hard." And then I finally cracked it. It was kind of like learning how to write essays in high school. I did it wrong, wrong, wrong for years, years, years. And finally, the last year of high school, realized, oh, I know exactly what they're looking for. They're not looking for anything creative. They're literally looking for someone to fill in the blanks and then just give it in. And then I got to college for my first year of college, and I got really good grades for writing because they asked, give me an essay that's like this. It's like just fill in the blanks, and I don't have to actually be creative. Well, it's almost the same thing with a short story. Is you learn there's beats and there's setups and then there's stakes and then there's climax and there's outcome, and it's all got to connect together, and it's ideally got to finish. And it's not like um, hinting at a whole bunch of other things. It's not leaving a ton of things unresolved. Um, Now, I'm not going to say that I've got it, figured it out perfectly, um, but practicing how to write short stories helps you to finish things, and that is an essential kind of vital step for being an author. You got to learn to finish something, and then be on the other side of it's done, and then you share that. I do think it's good to find a group of people who you trust, who you like, who maybe like you, who give you good feedback. And it can be positive and kind feedback. It doesn't always have to be harsh critique. In fact, I would avoid people who are professional critiquing, because especially when you're building up, you don't have the strength on the to tell the difference between when something is directed at you versus directed at your craft versus a harshly said effort at encouragement. We're such a bunch of softies and so sensitive on the inside, most of us. Um, this is one reason why in the legend fiction community, we've made a rule where no negative critiques. We're going to encourage and point out how good you are at doing something. Because I remember getting that when I was starting out writing, and I posted a story at an online forum, and somebody came and gave me some feedback about what I was good at, and I was so grateful to have good feedback that I went and doubled down for the next 10 years on getting better at the thing that I was good at, because that's how I can be a good writer, right? And I think I'm pretty good at it now. Um, I'll let you all decide. But positive feedback is really helpful. So learn to write regularly. That's pretty essential. Surrounding yourself with the kind of people who are doing it constantly, which is why we have the writing community, can make that easier. Learn to finish what you start. So writing short stories is such a great little exercise for, here's an idea, done. Because then you can learn to structure your chapters like that as well. Instead of a chapter kind of meandering and you don't know kind of where it ends, you can learn to structure chapters so that you're excited to get all the way through them, because you can clearly see the end and right towards it. maybe end on a cliffhanger or close off an idea, and then you can start a new one. You're making it easier for yourself to understand the process of writing. You learn those building blocks. You put in like 1,000 words a day, 500 words a day. Within 3 months, within 6 months, novel is done, and you're writing the words the end or end of part one. If you're like a beginner author, it's always a trilogy. Um, Magical thing is you get through it. There's a fantastic sense of satisfaction of getting through your first novel. I literally put off writing the climax of my novel for a year because I had a job change and I couldn't bring back the energy to finish writing that story. And then one day, all of a sudden, it was there, and I went and wrote it, and then started the re-editing process, and then stopped. And I need to go back and finish. Um, the thing is, to be a full-time author, you got to get comfortable with writing, because you look at anybody else who is a full-time author. What do you see them do? They're writing. They're writing constantly. Whether you go to college or not, you will need to be writing. So that's something you have to get comfortable with. If you can't do that, you either have to decide for yourself, how much are you prepared to sacrifice for this goal? Because it is possible to win at it. And we see a lot of people who have. And there's now a fantastic opportunity in the market where self-published can win as much as traditional published authors can. And in fact, we're even seeing big movie producers are fishing carefully through self-published authors to find out if there are diamonds in the rough. That can be then turned into the new stories that we're all looking for. So there's a really fun opportunity for self-published authors. All right. So what kind of path or major or any type of advice to get down the author path? Honestly, I think that's basically it. Now, like I said, you can go and I think you can get a degree in writing, and that can be really fantastic for creating a highly focused environment where you learn the mechanics and you're partnered with a bunch of other people who are focusing on taking it really seriously. Um, you probably will want to be writing the whole time anyway. Or if you're like most of us, start writing right now and write badly and have fun. Create habits around a specific time in your day. Accept the fact that maybe you're going to have a ton of ideas, and that's okay. Fill up journals, or create an online, batch of Word documents, or a note taking system or something, and just start saving all of your ideas. Learn a couple of methodologies for how to get through something, such as, save the cat, or what's the other one? Take off your pants as another writing methodology, or coffee break screenwriter is an awesome, simple kind of methodology. Um, Something you can also do is, which is what I will often do, is go to chat, for example, chat GPT, and say, here's my idea for a story. Here's how I think I want it to structure it, organize my thoughts and give it back to me in an outline, and help me see stuff that I missed or how can I make it better. And that can be insanely helpful for helping to give you an idea of where your story could go and where to make it stronger. And if you don't like chat, that's fine. Grab a friend and war game it with a friend. Um, Sometimes knowing where you want to go so that you can either write towards that ending or write against that ending, or figure out where the story wants to go as you progress towards that ending. That can give you the confidence to keep going. If you have no idea what your ending is or why the story matters to you at all, you'll probably have a hard time writing that story. And some people will do that, and they'll write a ton, and they'll, go all over the place, and you end up doing a ton of editing afterwards, because you're free writing, you're discovery writing, and some people are amazing at that. For most people, I think it's important to have a plan and understand how you want to structure your book. And then once you've learned the rules, you can then decide how to apply them to you. I don't think it's about know the rules so that you can break them. It's like, no, learn the rules so that you know when to apply them to you and your situation or not. So once you've got that down, and obviously that's going to be your career, writing forever and ever, right? Every single day, finishing a book, starting a new one, maybe having multiple books going at the same time. Or, like we just chatted with Thomas earlier in this conversation, if you are writing, sometimes you have multiple projects going on. You'll decide, well, I don't need to, my energy is not here for this novel. I'm going to go and finish working on this one. You might be bouncing a couple of different ones at the time. If you're hyper creative, kind of like me, that can actually be one way to keep your creative juices going and flowing, because you have multiple different things to think about. It's not for everybody. Um, then, as far as becoming a full-time author, to finish answering that question, to get where you are, you may have to take another job, like a part-time job for a while to build up a skill to learn how to do something. If I can make a recommendation, it's actually the path that I followed, which is I figured out you can apply your love for storytelling to branding or to marketing or to helping a client or a business tell their story in the market. So you could go to your like somebody at your parish or your local, business community center or something, and um, uh, learn about brand storytelling. So if you've never heard of it, grab a book called um, what is it? Build a Story Brand by Donald Miller. Grab that book, read it in a weekend. And then all of a sudden you'll see, wait a second, everything that we do in stories, we also do that over in business and marketing. And it's going to be valuable for you to learn to do that for yourself. But you can also take what you learn in that book. As a storyteller, you could be an absolutely amazing person to help somebody else with it and get paid for it too. Now, you could go on to get Story Brand certified, which is a little bit expensive and extremely cool, and then people will be knocking on your door and wanting to hire you. Or you can just take that book and then you can go to a friend, somebody who's starting a business, and you can um, talk them through their brand. Who's your kind of a Gandalf or a Yoda figure, and you're here to help somebody else on the adventure of their life. And your job, excuse me, your brand helps them solve a specific problem so they can win at their adventure, win at their life. If you help, for example, your client, this could be your uncle or your friend or your dad's business or your parents' business or your grandparents' business. Um, Walk them through those talking points or those ideas, and then maybe you help them write that out. Go, here's your story. You can put this on the about page of your website. You can put that on your social networks, right? When you help them tell their story to their audience better, I think storytellers can be fantastic at this. Um, we've forgotten that that is what marketing is. Marketing is, it's like a love letter. I love this approach. Marketing is a love letter to the people that you help to serve. Marketing is an act of service to people that you want to help. Um, and telling your story is how a brand can stand out, win better clients, better customers, make more money, perhaps even charge more. So, storytellers have a really cool superpower that most other people don't have. Most other people have no idea how to think in terms of story. All they're thinking of is, well, I do stuff and people give me money for it. And the storyteller comes in and goes, well, this is going on in your client's life and they're the hero. This is going on in their life. And then you show up and you're going to help them do something really cool. And then they're going to win at life and enjoy life more. And they're going to trade money to you for a chance to fix their lives and enjoy life more. And so you write out that story and you can help them accomplish that. You then learn how to do that for yourself. And then you can start looking at yourself from the outside as well. If I'm an author, I want to help people think this kind of way or achieve this kind of success in their life, or I want to discover this particular way to help people accomplish something in their life. And this is why I write stories. And so you then look at the novels, the stories that you're writing, and you can start to see the through line. You can start to see the key through all of them and decide this is why writing matters to me. And then if you can own that, you can then put that on your website. And you can start sharing people with that. I am an author because this matters to me. And I'm going to keep showing up through my stories with this kind of message. Now, you might have a bunch of different ones. Um, leave that until you get to actually finishing and writing. So, write a bunch. I do think it's probably smart to get a job to get some business expertise. Almost anything, learning how to deal with other people, how to take orders, how to get stuff done, even if it's only part time or for a little while, it's going to help take some of the pressure off of you so that you can show up and just sort of brain out and do that, or maybe learn skills. And then when you come back to writing, you're fresh and you can just focus on writing. If you go into writing from day one with no skills, um, and a whole ton of pressure and maybe a deadline where you got to be out and you have to support yourself with writing. You either have to pull a ton of energy out of, and maybe you've got this already. And if you do, that's incredible. There are authors who have done this. I don't know that most of us can show up and decide, starting today, I am going to write every single day and I am going to learn how to publish maybe every other day the things that I am writing, and I'm going to get a novel done like every 3 months, every 6 months, maybe. Um, I'm going to get a ton of either traditional publishing deals, or I'm going to teach myself how to self-publish, and I'm going to grow an audience by learning how to be really interesting so that other people will follow me and want to follow me and get on my mailing list and follow my podcast. Um, there are a bunch of skills that you have to learn. And if you're in high school or if you're in college, it can feel like a lot. Um, what you can also do is join a community of people who are trying to figure it out with you. And that can make your job or maybe your life easier. So for me, I didn't know how to market anything. I stopped writing fiction for about 10 years and I went and side quested in learning how to market. And I found a bunch of incredible authors who changed how I thought, changed my mind about marketing. And now that I've learned some of that, now I can come back and feel more confident about this idea of, I think I want to write full time. So this was a whole bunch of um, hopefully something that was interesting. I hope that it answers your question about how to be a full time author or not. There's probably other people who have a ton of much better answers. If you do, please go ahead and say hi in the comments, and hopefully we can be really helpful. Um, last little point that you make, you've said that you can lose the rights to your book if you go through a traditional publishing house. That I don't know. Maybe some people have experienced that. Um, there can be, you have to read the fine print. There are some where they lock down your rights for a period, and then you can buy them back or you can get them back later. This is one reason why self publishing can be valuable. There are traditional, conventional publishing situations that are actually taking on self-published works even after they've been self-published and successful for a little while. They're now changing their admissions policies and stuff so that you can still get traditionally published even after you've been self-published. So things are changing and they are adapting. Staying on top of it is a pretty valuable thing. If losing your rights and losing control of your book is an issue for you, then that just may not be the right way to go. So learning how to self-publish can create a whole lot of freedom. It's something you can do in an afternoon as soon as you hit the end, assembling your book and then just getting it up online. Technically, that's kind of the easy part. It's not as hard. You hire a nice cover designer, get your book laid out. You can do that for free, upload it to Kindle for free. And then the magic is going out and finding an audience or getting on, podcasts or partnering with other people. And this is going to be my last pitch as we sign off for today. This is one major reason why we've started a new section inside Legend Fiction. So apart from the general community where it's like, let's all write stories together, we've now created a collaboratory. It's like a collaborative laboratory where we can test and build our ideas together on how to write and publish and sell more and market better. There are so many new tools out there. And there's so many websites that help authors do this stuff. So we're trying to find a way to pool this together and make it easier. So you can visit legendfiction.com. You can check that out. You can start a 30-day free trial to join the community. Hit the drop down. You can explore the more section. It's got the collaboratory on there. And we were just chatting earlier on this stream with Thomas and Gianna about all of that stuff because they are people who love writing and they also either love marketing or they're trying to figure it out. So if any of this has been helpful, please go ahead and say hi in the comments. I would love to have a chance to answer your questions or just reply to your questions. I don't know if they're always going to be answers that you're satisfied with, but I can give you my thoughts on them. And hopefully, we will be back next week with another author, maybe some more members of our community. And I'd love to know what you thought and if this was an interesting or fun conversation and live stream. So keep writing, always keep writing. And hopefully, we'll see you next time. Cheers.